The Waterline Live. Join the climate conversation with Jonathan Levy.
Okay, so my name is Catherine Darby-Roberts. I'm the Advanced Manufacturing and Industry Lead at Arup.
And Arup is sponsoring today's sort of look at resilience.
Yes.
So what were the key things you were looking at your session?
So we're really excited to bring the subject of resilience to the Waterline Summit today. So what we wanted to talk about was actually talk about resilience in terms of society and all the different elements of society, because we know that resilience is really quite a complex problem and a challenge that we all have, and actually together we can move forward and we can form a more resilient society. So we were very fortunate in that we had guests who represented both public and private sector, but also the universities was with us as well, and also charities as well. So really good, broad panel who were able to share different thoughts, different views, and explain the challenges that they have in terms of resilience.
And you work with companies on a day-to-day basis, help them become more resilient, help them look at their net zero strategies. So what sort of groundswell is there? What do you sense in terms of the uptake of wanting to be more resilient or meet net zero targets?
So all the companies we speak with all want to move forward, all want to be more resilient, all want to have a sustainability strategy and a plan in place. Most companies now who I work with, particularly like the University of Hull and Siemens Mobility, they have a strategy, but what we can do is we can help them actually put forward a plan for their estate or for their projects or for their business. And so and that's what I've been working on more recently. And I think what's also worth talking about actually is that there's very ambitious targets being set by these institutions and by these companies. And actually it's very hard to make that commercial and to make that actually work for people. So quite often we take the strategy and then we develop a plan, and it might hit 3 out of 5 targets, but it's moving them all in the right direction, and I think that's what we are trying to do now is move companies in the right direction, so that they do move towards zero fossil fuels or near zero, and it's about that transition, and that's how we help them.
And these are some bigger companies, but there's a broad range of size of companies, a lot in the SME category, and quite often I hear people say, well, we want to do this, but we just don't know where to start.
Yes, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why I invited Craig to join us today, who's actually an SME within Siemens. So he, when we met with him, he knew exactly where he wanted to take his business, but didn't really understand or didn't have the precedent examples as to show him what could work and what maybe wouldn't work as well. So SMEs do need to rely on local networks and ask for examples when trying to decide what to invest in and when to make that investment, and understanding for them when their trigger points would be. So we're working with some institutions who get flooded, and they used to get flooded every 20 years, and now it might be every 10 years. And so is that now when you need to start to invest in flood defences, or do you wait until that occurrence is every 5 years? So thinking about when your trigger point is and identifying your trigger points actually is a really good starting point for companies.
So for you, what was the biggest takeaway from the session, do you think?
That resilience, the need for resilience is very real, that it's complex, but actually there's small things that everybody can be doing, and it's about starting to do something now, don't delay. I think that's the key message.
Join the climate conversation with Jonathan Levy, a Blue Aurora media production for Marketing Humber.